Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and today I am going to make a junk journal with Brutus Monroe Stamp set. It is part of the new release that came out in July, and it is one of the Thanksgiving sets. And I like this phrase, I will be grateful for this day, and I thought this could be used outside of Thanksgiving, so I'm going to make a I will be grateful for this day journal. To begin with, I've already got my MISTI loaded with the stamp that I want to use, and I've pre-cut a piece of paper to fit in the corner here. So I'm just going to load this up with my magnet, and then I'm going to ink with my Brutus Monroe Detail Ink in Raven. I'm going to use my crocodile to round the corners. I've got a couple of my Chameleon pens here with the mixable cartridge on there, so I can take orange and add water, and it'll give it, or not water, add the color cartridge, and it will add a blended orange on here. So I'm going to hold the color change cartridge or color top on the very top, and then my other pen will go up inside, and I will count to about 20. Then once I've done that, I'm going to color on one side of each of these little leaves so that it'll have a nice pretty little color. And then when it starts to change to the orange, I will color the other side. I've got a few little leaves that I know I want to put on here, and I have my Brutus Monroe surface ink and jack-o'-lantern. So I'm going to add a little bit of this using a blending tool around the edge of this white piece. I've got some tulip glitter glue, and I'm going to add that onto the leaves just to give them a little bit of a shimmer. It'll dry clear, but it'll have just a touch of shimmer. If you had a thankful journal, what would you write in it? What would you be thankful for in your life? You know, I'm thankful for many things. I'm thankful to have the ability to make art every single day if I so choose, to share it with others, whether it be locally or through the mail or on the internet. So what things are you thankful for? I'm going to add these little leaves in the corners, and I've got some Aleene's clear tacky glue. I'm just going to add a little dollop of glue under each. I found these little leaves back in the fall of last year after Thanksgiving on clearance when they were like 80% off, and they're little confettis, and I thought, well, these would be perfect to add to cards. I'm going to set this aside to dry and start working on the rest of the journal pieces. I've cut a piece of cardstock. I'm making a traveler's size notebook, which is 8¼ inches tall, and when the page is folded, it is 4¼ inches wide. I like to leave the 12 by 12 paper the whole length, so I have this nice flap, so there's lots of writing area here. I've got a couple of scraps of paper that I found in my stash, so I'm going to go around the edges of this orange with the jack-o'-lantern. That just kind of gives it a finished look. I think I'm going to do the same with this yellow piece. It's okay that I'll use the orange border. I'm going around the craft color with the dots because I thought that would make it all tie together. I'm going to do a pamphlet stitch on my journal. So I've got a piece of wax linen thread and a bookbinder's needle. So I'm going to cut 3 lengths, 1, 2, and 3. I like to go ahead and cut it free from the roll so it's not in the way. I have 10 various sheets of paper. This page here is some scrapbook paper. This is from my mop-up paper, scrapbook paper, a printed line paper, a page out of a coloring book, an old map, another scrapbook paper, and then that's the center. So I'm going to take all of these and line them all up. There's 10 in total, and put them right inside the center of my journal. And then I'm going to paper clip with these giant paper clips on the side so that's all lined up. I have a little template that I have made that has my marks on here. Basically, I measure out the height of my journal, find the center part and punch a hole, and then I determine how far from the ends that I want to punch a hole, and I'll mark them evenly. I like to place these down inside, and then I will punch a hole with an awl. Now I use a bookbinder's cradle. You don't need a cradle. You can use a phone book or really thick pieces of paper stacked or a piece of fun foam. I like the bookbinder's cradle because it's sturdy and it's easy for me to line up my pages and push them down into the crack. Now what's happening is there's a V here, so it's making all those pages stack neatly and right on top of each other where the crease is in the center. I have a bookbinder's awl, or just an awl that can be used, and I'm punching 3 holes, 1 in the center, 1 on each end. Now that I've got my holes and I've got my thread on my needle, I'm going to start on the inside and push through. Make sure I've got it turned to the outside. Then I will make sure my tail does not go all the way through. Go up to the top, push through to the inside. I like to pull these tight, and then I will go on the inside center hole to the outside. From the outside, the other hole that hasn't been sewn through, back to the inside. Pull these up tight, and then what I'll do is slip under this first stitch that I made in the book, and I'm going to tie 2 square knots. So 1 and 2. Then I'll cut off the excess. I've got a couple of these leaves out here. I thought I would see if I could glue these back to back over my strings. Now I may have to put one reversed of the other because these are not identical on both sides, so I have to stack them up and make sure that I've got them going in the right direction. So I'll just use a little dollop of Aleene's tacky glue in the center, and then I'll lay the string in the glue, kind of spread it out just a little bit, and then I'll stack the other piece of confetti on top, lining it up, pressing it together, and let that dry for a moment, and then I'll do the other one. So here is the beginnings of my journal. I've got my pages together, and here is going to be my outside. Now what I'm going to temporarily do is close this just a little bit because I want to layer on my pieces of paper. Actually, what I'll do is I'll lay it flat. That's what I'll do. That'll make it easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this yellow piece of paper to the orange. I've got some Brutus Monroe craft glue. I like it because it puts out just a thin amount. You don't need a whole lot when you're working with paper. If you do too much of what I call a white glue, then it will cause your paper to warp and buckle and wrinkle. But I like the Brutus Monroe because it's such a fine line that it puts down that it doesn't make my paper buckle or wrinkle. Now I know that this is going to go in the center, but I want to add, before I glue it to my journal, some pretty washi tape. So I'm going to make a little line of washi tape. I'm going to do it right at the top of the yellow. And I'll just cut that to fit, and I'll do it on the other side. Now, before I am going to glue this to my journal, I'm going to use my sewing machine and put a little zigzag stitch on the top and the bottom. That way it'll have a nice pretty finish to it. Yeah, top and bottom. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could take a pen and make a zigzag line across the top and the bottom. I just like doing the sewing machine because I am at first a seamstress before I am a paper artist, and I like to use my sewing machine whenever possible. So now I'm going to use a little bit more of this Brutus Monroe glue and adhere this to my cover. I'm going to use the Brutus Monroe glue on the back side of my focal piece that I made. That's going to go right in the center. The glitter glue is almost dry, so I'm trying to be careful and not put my fingers in it. I've got some jute that I'm going to use to tie my journal shut, so I'm just kind of getting a length of it out. What I like to do is slip my ribbon or jute right underneath, and then this can wrap around and tie shut when it is dry. So here is my little I will be grateful for this day journal using the Brutus Monroe stamps, Brutus Monroe detail ink, the Brutus Monroe craft glue, the Brutus Monroe surface ink, that was in orange, and then some scrapbook paper and some washi tape I had in my stash, as well as this cardstock. And this will now have a flip out here to write. Lots of pages to write. I used what was left of the cover and just made little cards to slip down inside here. There's some mulberry paper, old map, scrapbook paper. Again, this one folds out so you have lots of room to write. And of course it repeats itself on the other side. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make a really quick journal that you could give this fall for friends and family, or keep it for yourself to write down all those things that you are grateful for. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Check out the Fans of Brutus Monroe Facebook group. I'll have a link down below so you can check that out. If you are really into junk journals and you'd like to be a member of a great Facebook group, check out my friendly Junk Journal People Facebook group as well. Every action that you put on my channel is greatly appreciated because it helps me be seen. So please click away, and thank you so much for watching. Have a fabulous day and be thankful as I am thankful for you. Bye!